Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the Queen Amina Show live on Facebook. Did I lost? Yeah, okay, so we're back. Today, we're going to be doing a continuation of the topic raising resilient children in the 21st century. Today, Dr. Marlyn Morris will be focused on parents slash teachers partnership approach. And you guys watched the first broadcast last week. I think 2 sessions now that we've done, and this is a continuation of this. And she's going to be coming back and coming back and coming back until we get it right, because she is available to help us get this right for our children. They are the future generation. So anything that is going to build them up right to be able to take over in the future is what we are about. So let me not talk much. If you're just coming on the broadcast, please share the broadcast. Invite parents. This is super, super important. Invite parents, and if you're a parent, get your children on board to listen to Dr. Marlyn Morris. It's our Mo Monday. Let me bring her up.
Yes.
Yay! Hi, Dr. Marlyn.
Hi, my queen. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon, listeners, watchers. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for your time. Your time that is priceless. You decided to share your knowledge, your time, just to help people around the world. This is beyond Canada. We have people watching from everywhere: Belize, India, Nigeria, Kenya, Rwanda, just to name a few, United States, of course. So you're speaking to many, many people, and even people that are going to watch this later. So we truly appreciate you, and it's such a privilege to have you live on the Queen Amina Show today. Thank you.
And thank you for the opportunity to serve, my queen.
You are very welcome. I'm not going to talk much because we have a very limited time today, because you're jumping on to another meeting. So we only have 45 minutes or less with you. So I'm going to let you take it away while I do my stuff at the background.
Thank you, my queen.
Yeah.
So, welcome one and all. And for the last 2 Mondays, we've been looking at how we are raising our children and looking at this 21st century in which we're living, right? We've got to do things differently. Research is showing that. And you have had 2 sessions on that. Today, I want to focus on the parent-teacher partnership approach to raising these resilient children who will be able to cope and be successful as we move forward in this century and, dare say, beyond as well. Okay, so this is very, very important, because you remember we said the partnerships and or alliances will be between parents within the family, the extended family, our teachers, community leaders, and a whole range of stakeholder groups that will impact our children as they grow up in our society today. Okay. And so we are continuing today. And this is very important because, especially now, where a lot is being focused on the school system, especially now with COVID, and what is going to happen in the world of learning, in the teaching space. How are we going to move forward to ensure that our children do not lose out on their education? Okay, today I want to focus on the teachers, first of all, and setting the context for how we're going to develop this approach, this partnership approach. And so it's important for me to set the contextual stage for everything. Next week, we'll delve deeper into what this partnership will look like. Okay, so my presentation today is a contextual one. I mean, I would start by saying you will remember, many teachers perhaps will remember, in 2001, UNESCO adopted what was called then the Universal Declaration on Cultural Diversity. And in December 2002, the United Nations General Assembly, in its Resolution 51 of 249, declared May 21 to be the World Day of Cultural Diversity and Dialogue and Development. Okay? And so it's important that we look at that and set that context. It recognized then equitable exchange and dialogue among civilizations, culture, and peoples based on mutual understanding and respect and the equal dignity of all cultures was seen then as, and still now is, an essential prerequisite for understanding social cohesion, reconciliation among peoples, and peace among nations. In an increasingly globalized world, where investment capital, scientific and technological advancements are removing borders and increasing access and free movement of people towards human advancing development opportunities, those of us charged with ensuring the education of the citizenry and our children specifically, right, and sustainable development of countries and people must rethink and re-engineer development strategies towards an inclusive development framework and action plan. This is a framework and associate strategies that seek to promote and harness the talents, skills, and passion among peoples of all culture toward the development of our countries within which we all find ourselves. Multicultural diversity, many religions and cultures and heritage practices. This is what we face right around the world, and I dare say here in Canada. How exciting! Now, we must find strategies to build or bridge gaps between cultures, and this is urgent and necessary for peace, stability, and development. You only have to look at the recent history, the recent past, with the movement of protest right around the world, with Black Lives Matter, for example, and anti-racism, and what is happening in the fallout today. It's not only here in Canada or the US, right around the world. And what it tells us is that we need to re-examine how we nurture, socialize, educate, train our peoples in this world, with the bottom line being respect for human dignity. And so we as educators must begin to look up. Where are we in all this dialogue? What are we supposed to do? Okay, I move on. It's very important that we understand the importance of cultural competencies. How do we understand and embrace the different cultures that we are living with in our society? We have to be able to begin at foundation stage to teach our children to understand this very same diversity, but seeking unity within that diversity. And it has to come through the education process, the socialization process, and understanding. So much is desired of our teachers, for example. Okay? So, how do we move forward? We must ensure that cultural education and tolerance is important, right? In our understanding, and our children must be made to understand cultural relevance and cultures and the different people that they meet in the classroom space, for example, and out in the social playground, right? The different cultures and how to respect each and every one, right? Not because they look different or they practice differently Our children need to understand the importance of foundational principles. That yes, we are brothers and sisters, we are human beings, all of us. It's only that we may look different and practice different things, but in the end, we all have one common purpose, and that is to share in the cultural understanding of everyone so that we can live in peace and harmony at this time in our history. We have a shared or common destiny. Okay? When you harm one, you harm all, really and truly. Okay? Because we have to live on this earth in that shared space. And so teachers and educators are very important in all of this. Okay? So how do we educate our children and youth? Do we need to train our teachers differently? Do we even look at cultural competencies and how do we as teachers understand that? Do we train our teachers in the teachers college to understand these new paradigms? I dare say we have to begin to look again at how we educate, because our teachers are also human beings and they go through their training and their heritage connections and so on themselves. And yet they are in a classroom with 20 children, perhaps 20 or more in some instances. And each of those children come into that classroom space to learn, right? And to learn about each other. And it's not only about the discipline being taught, it's about the importance of that space where they are gathered and the teacher being there as well, and maybe of a different cultural heritage as well. So, how do we enrich that classroom so that all of us together in that classroom understand and begin to develop the respect that is important for each cultural heritage? And by the way, those children that are in that classroom, they do come into that classroom with their own lived experiences from home, and that can be shared. And I dare say our research is showing that it is important for this understanding to be built, and that that shared information in that shared space will help all our children to understand respect for other people's culture and to see how those other people are also contributing to the development of our societies. Isn't that an interesting thing to want to know and be part of? Once we begin that nurturing process, that foundation through education systems, right, where we teach our children that social and emotional learning of self respect, respect for others and their lives, wouldn't this be the beginning of an amazing, wonderful world of peace and harmony? Just imagine. It can begin in the classroom. And so we have to ensure that we, as teachers, are enabling this change that we need to have put in place so that we can have a better world for all. And we would I dare say, reduce the protests on the street and the misunderstanding. If as teachers we begin to reflect on who we are as teachers and how we can impact positive changes in the lives of the children we teach. They want to know that their teacher love and understand them too. And it's all about how you present yourself. And by the way, I must say as well that all around us, people live their prejudices and biases in this life. Nobody can say, oh, I am not prejudiced, I am not biased. Not at all. You have to look within yourself to see how you were nurtured And truth to be told, and if you really are truthful about who you are, you will understand that there are some instances when you don't even want to deal with something. So all this calls for a new reflection of who we are as teachers. Do we have prejudices and biases to overcome, to be able to be powerful role models to our children that we teach and youth, by the way? Do we? Have we even considered it? It's very important that we do from this stage onward, because the world will never be at peace unless we begin to raise a new generation and a new relationship and partnership to raising successful families and the human race, so that we can overcome these wars and rumors of wars within and without our borders. Just think about it for a moment. I'll be back in a second or two. My queen.
Thank you so much, Dr. Marlyn. That is such a powerful presentation, and it's so true that the world need voices like your voice to show light, to shine light on these kinds of issues that we're having, like topics like this. So, can I ask you a question though? Because I take notes. You emphasize the importance of this partnership. Why is this so important?
Yes. Remember, we started out 2 weeks ago, 2 Mondays ago, and we indicated then that it takes a village to raise a child.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to be careful who the members in these villages are. Because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that those people who are impacting the lives of your children are true to their cause and purpose as well. And they have to have the right mindset, okay, to be able to impact your children's lives. And as parents, we need to make sure that we collaborate with our teachers, for example. Let them know us. Okay. And next week, I look at strategies of how we can do this in terms of volunteering in the school and be partner in that way, and let our children see that we are friends with their teachers. And that as parents, we don't speak ill of our teachers in front of our children.
Wow.
Because that resonate with them, and they go into school and they remember that mom said this about Miss Brown. Look at her.
Oh, wow.
We have to be careful about the messages we convey. And if our children come home, for example, and say, Mom, this happened at school and my teacher didn't treat me right because of XYZ, what will your response be? Not to react, because reaction gives off negativity. You ought to be responsive. And it is all about, well, what happened, little Johnny? Let him tell you from his perspective. And then you say, okay, my dear, I will go to see Miss Brown, if that's the name of the teacher, and I will hear what she says. And together, we will help you to understand, and we will help to solve this problem of how you feel. All right? But we don't do that as parents. We are angry, we're aggressive, and we don't know that everything that how we respond resonate with that child. Do you think that child will go back to school and be positive if you as a parent speak negative? And I'm not saying that some teachers don't do the wrong thing, but I am saying that as a parent, to be able to raise that child resiliently and successfully, you have to respond differently. And that's why the partnership is so important, that you should be able to go to school and have a dialogue with Miss Brown. And she might tell you things that your little child didn't tell you, because most often the child wants to tell you her view, that child's view, right? And so it is important that you take a balanced approach to understanding what transpired. And that is why I am preaching about partnership, right? It's a role where teachers and parents begin to understand each other, begin to develop strategies for raising these children, okay? Where these children not only build trust with their teachers, their parents, but trust with their teachers as well. And yes, some teachers may be bad or, wrongfully treating these children. But the bottom line is you've got to be responsible parents and get to know firsthand. And if needs be, you go to the school to see that teacher. And if you do not get justice, so to speak, you can take it to the principal, right? That is the kind of collaborative partnership that we need to encourage in the schoolyard and in the school space and between these two partners to raise our children successfully. You know, if you go to school to see the teacher just because you want to hear about how well Johnny is doing and what the teacher thinks and how the teacher can help you as parent because you don't have all the answers either.
Mhm.
And very often there are, teaching topics that the child may be sent home to research and they can't. And you as parents, you don't know. But so it's important to get to know, right? So you become an ally for successful raising and educating your children, even though you may not have that high level technical knowledge. And COVID has shown us that right now. Your you know that, my queen. We got a lot to report on that. Our parents are home 24/7 with their children,
Yeah.
right? And some of the activities that they have to do at home in terms of education, right, or training, right? The
Mhm.
parents could not help, right? And they miss their teachers. And sometimes the time frame is so short that
Mhm.
they can't call Miss Brown to say, Miss Brown, I don't understand this too much. I'm going through this and mommy cannot help me and so on. Right? It is throwing up a lot of disconnections, you see.
Yeah.
What is it going to look like in terms of our education system post COVID? Yes, we are now trying to find issues, how to solve these problems with online learning, blended learning, and all of that. It's going to be a different universe for education. But that's for another topic, another time.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I
So
hope,
that's
do you think, I was gonna ask you what should be the role of the teachers in all of this, and somehow you have answered that. But do you think that the teachers and the parents are ready for this new normal?
Yes, I think to a great extent they are, because COVID has caused a lot of suffering and misunderstanding as well. Okay. And
Mhm.
we had some research with some youthful students where they indicated that they're tired of this lockdown because they cannot get to participate as the way they would like to,
Yeah.
because parents at home do not have sufficient knowledge to help,
That's
right? And very often we devalue teachers, right? But they are playing a valuable role in educating our children. And at this time, they need to even develop more knowledge to be able, especially cultural competencies, right? Where they can be able to impact the lives of those multicultural students that sit before them. So they need to know, to be able to be trained now in new skills, right? Especially for this 21st century. And it's not only about knowledge transfer. It's actually skills that teachers need to know in terms of mindfulness, contemplative education, and what is their role in all of this? How do you manage your new classroom? Especially at this time in the 21st century, where that new classroom is full of smart children that are getting knowledge from their smartphones, for example. And yet we don't put it to good use in the classroom.
Mhm.
Valid. Okay. It's a wealth of knowledge, but it has to be supervised and guided, for example. Okay. And not only that, The new classroom space now has to be one where the teacher is a learner, and the learner is a teacher as well. Think about it. When you're doing topics on sociology and geography and all those disciplines that speak to people and spaces, living spaces, and all that, how? Why are we not encouraging our children in the classroom to speak? They come into the classroom with their lived experience from their homes and community that that reflect their culture. All right. And so this is rich knowledge that if they were exposed in classroom setting where the teacher could connect these kind of things to the discipline they're being taught, those children can bring forward into that classroom space new knowledge that could build cultural competencies, not only between that child and the teacher, but other children of different cultures in that classroom space. Just think about it.
What is culturally relevant teaching?
Yes, that is teaching, right? That shows understanding of the culture of those many children that come into the classroom.
Okay.
Right? But you know what? Very often what we do is to shut up this kind of knowledge. And yet we are talking about a globalized world in which those very same children will travel to distant places, different culture and people, right? Even in the world of work, right? So we need to begin this process. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but we have to start somewhere.
Absolutely.
Okay. This is my mission, my queen.
And I'm loving that mission.
Yes, because we can do it. I believe in peace and parity. I believe in those things. And we ourselves, those of us that call ourselves impactors in the education and socialization system, we are called upon now to really begin to advocate for this new world and new relationships in building, understanding cultural competencies. And it can be done through our practice in the classroom as well, and in the churches, and in the schoolyard, and in our community center, because we live in a multicultural society, diversity, but we need unity in that diversity, right? Unity of purpose.
Amen.
And we have to educate for that new understanding moving forward. Seriously.
Wow, wow. This is amazing. Thank you so much. Michael Jagdeo is agreeing with you.
Yes.
Said yes, Dr. Marlyn. And on our watch party, Tarek is agreeing with you also.
Thank you.
This is very important topic. And it's something that a lot of parents need to know that they can't do it alone. I love when you said it takes a village to raise a child, but
yes,
who are the members of the village? That is the important question that many parents should ask themselves. Who are the members of your village? And that includes family, friends, neighbors, churches, teachers, like you're saying. You know, the friends that your children keep, their parents are all part of that village. You know, the place she goes to work, the place he or she hangs out, they're all parts of that village. So who are your children hanging around with? Who are your friends that your children see you with? They're all part of that village. What kind of a church do you take your children to attend? Because whatever that pastor or those people in that church are teaching, your children are taking a piece of it with them. Know? And what kind of schools? And most importantly, what kind of neighborhood are you living and raising your children? Is it a neighborhood where they see people smoking marijuana every day and fighting on the street? It becomes the norm. You know, I love what one of the CNN presenters said one time. He said, if you're living in a neighborhood and it's dirty, clean up your side. The other person cleans up their side, that neighborhood becomes clean. So the same thing we're talking here. Each family, each member of the village, do your part. And
Yes.
we would globally be able to raise resilient children in this 21st century that will not only be able to take over leadership in the future, but
Yes.
they'll be able to sustain the leadership.
That's right. That's right. And not only to sustain that leadership, but leadership will look different.
That's
Right?
right.
If we start nurturing them the right way, not leadership, whether it's political leadership, leadership in business, right? Everything has a bottom line, right? And if we want to raise successful and sustainable families and people, right, we have to understand that it cuts across all areas of society,
Absolutely.
right? And so we need to begin at foundation with that, with the education system for change that will allow us to live in harmony or peace, live an amazing life, and being able to sustain where we don't see the color of the skin, but we see the human factor, the dignity and the commonness of everyone in terms of being human.
Hallelujah.
You know?
Thank you. You
Yes.
preach it, my Dr. Marlyn.
I love what I do. You know that,
I
right?
can see the passion oozing out.
And there's lots more to come in the next few Mondays to come, really.
Thank you so
Do we
much.
have enough time at the moment, my queen? Because we have to stop in a little while.
Yes.
But we will continue the dialogue. What I want people to, especially teachers now, to understand that we need to look at our education of teachers. How do we train teachers in terms of the knowledge that they need to get to be able to function in a situation where they do culturally relevant practices, right? To help raise a new generation that will be different, okay? We'll do things differently and we'll build a better world, okay?
Amen. Amen.
Teachers need to to reflect on who they are before these children. They're standing before a multicultural environment of children. And so we need, and I'm a teacher educator to all levels, okay? How do we transfer knowledge to them to the extent that we are not disrespecting them, but we can learn from them too,
Absolutely.
right? To
Absolutely.
make the knowledge universe and the practice universe richer, right? Okay.
I'm ready for the next Monday. So for now, Dr. Morris is going to be signing out with her last word for us for today. So take it away, Doctor.
Okay. Our last word is that we need to make sure we say we rather than me or I. It's a partnership of togetherness to raise resilient families in this new century. Okay? So please, I would like you to reflect on these things and ask yourself, am I ready as a teacher, for example, to partner with parents? What do I need to do to make sure I understand? What do I need to change? And how do I get there? To be able to make a positive impact on the lives of those beautiful children of many cultures that sit before me in my classroom, or now even online as we teach them online as well. Okay? Have a great day, a wonderful evening, and I thank you for listening. I look forward to meeting you again next Monday. Remember, subscribe. Thank you kindly.
Thank you so much. What is your YouTube handle that people that wants to follow you?
I think what I will do is to put this in the chat next week because right now
Okay.
it's a new kind of thing. But I am on YouTube. You can ask Dr. Marlyn Morris. You will see me there.
Awesome.
Right? Right.
Awesome. Thank
Just
you
put
so
that
much,
name in your
Dr.
YouTube and you will see that.
Awesome.
Okay. So.
Thank you so much, Dr. Morris. Have
And
a
thank
wonderful day.
also those people who ask their questions,
Thank
right?
you so
Things
much.
like that. Thank you kindly. And my email is open to you anytime. And if you're a teacher as well, feel free to email me.
Mhm.
I am ready to help in the greater understanding. Okay.
Awesome. And you have a college that they can be learning
Yes, a
online too.
private career college, right? It's Ontario College for Development Training. And I have as well transformation coaching site. It's called drmarlynmorris.com. If you go there, you'll see many of the things I talk about. There's also video to train teachers and parents and so on. It's going to be an amazing time as we partner together to change the look of our generations now and those to come in terms of prosperity. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Have a wonderful day, Dr. Morris.
Thank you.
You take care. All right. So that was a wonderful session with Dr. Marlyn Morris. Always a pleasure to have her on the show and even behind the scene. I talked to her. Great woman. One of the things that I would love you guys to take away today is in her presentation, she said, when a child comes to the parents to complain about a teacher, since this is a partnership approach that we're using, she said something very profound. She said, do not react, but be responsive. Reacting means you are showing anger, you are aggressive, you're saying bad things about the teacher, and the child is watching your action. She is soaking in like a sponge your words. And then when she goes back to school the next day, guess what? She's going to have an attitude. He or she is going to have an attitude. Why? Because he or she is operating based on the fact that she heard you say something not good. You sow the bad seed in the spirit, in the child's spirit. So when that child goes to school, instead of cooperating with the teacher, he or she would start having an attitude. Then you have a bigger problem in your hand. So be responsive. Talk to the child about solutions. Talk to them about how you will keep them comfortable. Encourage them that you're going to come to school to speak to their teacher and you're going to find a solution. It's a better approach than being reactive. So I hope you guys, even if you don't take nothing out of this today, take that out. And not just teacher-parents relationship. Even in your workplace, your relationship with friends and family, never be reactive, but be responsive. Until tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we're going to be sitting with Dr. Princess Mokolo. I'll say that again. Until tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we're going to be sitting with Dr. Princess Mokolo, live on the Queen Amina Show, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook and YouTube. Keep smiling, keep loving, keep giving, and keep watching the Queen Amina Show.